A very good afternoon, everyone. I hope that you all are doing well. And at the very same time, welcome to week 15 of the semester. And if you would very carefully have a look at our to-do lists for week 15, we have a little bit of work to do before we finish off the semester. Now, for this particular week, you are supposed to do the following. You are to attend your Zoom-based lecture class in which we will be finishing up with all the revision questions from last week. Moreover, I will also be giving you your final examination, which will be online based, the outline of it. And then you are also supposed to attempt your short test, which carries 10% towards the coursework. Now, where it is located and more details on it will be discussed in a while. Moreover, I'd also like to thank you for those of you who have submitted your assignment on Sunday, that is yesterday evening, and some of you submitted well before Sunday, so which is very, very good. If you are one of those who are still left with the submission of your assessment, please do have a look at the cutoff date and then try to get it submitted as soon as possible. Now, if you quickly go on to our model shell and have a look at week 15 section of the model shell, okay? So in this week's lecture, okay, it's just revision questions, and this is what all we'll be doing. And moreover, this will be our very final class for semester 2, 2021. On Thursday, it's a public holiday since it's a Diwali public holiday, so we cannot have a class on Thursday, so we'll try to wrap everything up in today's class. Now, before we move on to the revision questions and the outline of the final examination, under my assessment section of the Moodle shell, right at the very bottom, you have your short test 1. Now, 20 multiple choice questions carries one mark each and would be converted to 10%. Now, the short test, which is worth 10%, has already opened up at 11 a.m. earlier, 1 hour ago, and then it will close off on the 5th of November at 11 a.m. So you have a total of 5 days to actually get it done. Now, what all is there is 20 multiple choice questions. Now, students are provided with only one attempt, and you have 40 minutes to attempt the short test, giving you a exact 2 minutes per question time frame, and marks will be displayed straight after when you have attempted your short test and when the quiz time closes. So that means on the 5th of November at 11:01 a.m. you should be able to see your marks and where you have gone wrong, which questions you have gone wrong, and so forth. Now, please ensure when you're attempting your short test, ensure to use your time very, very well and reach each and every question. Prepare well before attempting it, and all the very best. Now, just in case, if you are finding it difficult to locate this, it shouldn't be difficult, but if you are, I have already posted an announcement under the latest announcement section. So short test 10%, if you would click, it says you may click here. So if you would click on the word here, it should take you to the quiz. Okay, any questions on this? Any questions on the quiz? If you have queries, now what all is covered? Everything from week 1 all the way down till week 14. However, everything will be based on multiple choice questions. There's no Dropbox, there is no short answer questions, no long answer questions. It's just multiple choice questions. All good? Monish, Musharat?
Yes, sir. Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, for your final exams, like I just mentioned earlier, your final exams will be online based. And this is week 15. Next week is week 16. So week 16 is your study break. Now, week 17. So if I would show you the dates, okay? So next week is week 15 from the 8th till the 13th. Now from the 15th till the 20th, 19th, not 20th, but 19th, from the 15th till the 19th, that's the time you will be given to actually go and attempt your final examination, which will be online based. Now the outline for your final examination, if you'd like to, please do write it down. Okay, so you have 4 sections in total. So section A is worth 30 marks with 30 multiple choice questions. Section B is worth 10 marks and it has 10 marks of true or false questions. Section C is again worth 30 marks and these are combination of short and long answer questions. I will repeat that. Section C, total of 30 marks with a combination of short and long answer questions. And section D is whereby you have questions on requirements modeling and carries 30 marks. So section D, 30 marks, requirements modeling. Now, section A, B, and C will be all timed. So you'll be given specific time. That means any time within the week, you may go and attempt section A, B, and C. Now, with section D, you'll be given one complete week to actually go and get those questions done, and you'll be provided with a Dropbox to submit your answer. Now, what all things can be concluded in section D under requirements modeling questions? So this is where you'll have diagrams, you'll have graphs, you have calculations. Now, what form of diagrams? You have Gantt charts, you have WBS, work breakdown structure, with the combination of per charts, from which you can always go and identify your critical path analysis. Moreover, you have use case. So these are all the diagrams and the graphs. With the calculations, you have total cost of ownership, you have PBA. Okay, PBA, that is post benefit analysis, and moreover net present value, PBA, payback analysis rather, and then NPV, net present value. Together with that, you can also have return on investments. Okay, so let's go and quickly recap on what all things will be covered in your final assessments, final online assessment. So section A, 30 marks, 30 multiple choice questions. Section B, 10 marks, 10 true or false questions. Section C, 30 marks, combination of short answer and long answer questions. Section D is again worth 30 marks, requirements modeling questions. So under requirements modeling, you may have things such as Gantt chart, work breakdown structure, per chart, CPA, use case. Moreover, you may also have calculations, so TCO, ROI, NPV, PBA. Any questions, anyone? Any questions, anyone? No?
No, sir.
Okay, so coverage is again.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Manish.
Sir, we'll be having our online exam after next week.
Yes. So this is week 15. Next week is your study break. That's week 16. So week 17 is when you'll have your online exam.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, what all things are covered? Everything from week 1 all the way down to week 15. Okay. Please, some of the tips for your final online exam is go over all your lecture-based quizzes for multiple choice kind of questions. Moreover, remember when we were actually going over the lecture notes, I have told you what things are important or things that you need to put a mark on. So those marked items, you might need to go and relook at them. Moreover, the revision questions that I have given you last week and I will give you today, your tutorial questions. Yep, these are the things that you need to clearly, that you need to specifically go and have a good look at. Okay, now your assignment, your major assignment that was given to you, okay, from it a few things will be tested. Now, if you realize things such as Gantt chart, PERT chart, use case diagrams, PVA, NPV, ROI, these things have been well tested. Moreover, the 7 phases of the system development lifecycle, they have been also well tested in your major project. So that's where I will be testing you on your major project too. Any more questions, anyone?
So,
Yes, Musharat.
so what about data flow diagrams?
No, it won't be covered.
Okay.
Okay. Any other queries? Monish, Musharat?
No, sir.
Okay. Monish, what about you?
All good, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So without more delays, let's go and quickly recheck our assessments. So 10% was actually allocated for your weekly quiz. Well covered. Most of you have completed this. Your mid-semester exam carried 20% towards your coursework. Now do go and revise things over your mid-semester exams too. Okay, so that is also what covered. So that's 30% towards your coursework. Your project, okay, which is worth 10%, okay, that has also been covered, so 40%. And your short test, which you will be completing it by this week Friday, so that will also cover 10%, a total of 50% coursework. So whatever marks that you see on your grade books so far, that plus the mark that I will be giving you or after I marked your project, so that, and together with that, your short test, you combine all those, that would be your total coursework. Okay, and I'm planning to release your coursework by this week Friday, COB, by the end of the day, 4 p.m. So everything should be up on Moodle by Friday. All right, let's go and have a look at our revision questions. Now, for your revision questions, we'll do like we had done last week. I will be dictating out the questions, so please write it down, and then later onwards, you'll have to answer the questions. There's a trick, or there is a way in which you can get the questions answered very, very quickly, because if you combine all the questions that I had given you before the mid-semester break and all the questions that I gave you last week, and the questions that I will give you today is more than 100. So if you quickly want to answer those questions, what you can do is you can group yourself up, let's say 2 or 3 members, divide the number of questions, and then ask each and every member to efficiently go and answer the questions, and you can share with one another. For example, Monish and Musharat, let's say if you two have combined these 100 questions, so you can take care of questions number 1 to 50 and 51 to 100. Somebody else, either of you would, the next person would take care of it. So once you've answered, just mix up your answers and you have a good set of revision questions. Okay. So week 10 lecture, let's go and have a look at it. Now, week 10's lecture was on data design. Okay, and in this lecture, you have learned about the different types of file formats. Have you covered this already? No way. No, we haven't. Okay. So question number 1. Explain file-oriented systems. Question number 1, explain file-oriented systems. And how they differ from. Explain file-oriented systems and how they differ from. Database management systems. So question number 1, explain file-oriented systems and how they differ from database management systems. Question number 2. Explain the following terminologies. Question number 2. Explain the following terminologies. Okay, give a colon and move to the next line. So the first terminology is entities. E-N-T-I-T-I-E-S. Entities. Next is fields. The next terminology is fields. F-I-E-L-D-S. Fields. Next terminology, records. Records. R-E-C-O-R-D-S. Records. Next terminology is files. F-I-L-E-S. Files. And the very last terminology in question number 2 is key fields. Key fields. Question number 3. Differentiate between. Question number 3. Differentiate between data warehousing and data mining. Differentiate between data warehousing and data mining. Question number 4. Distinguish between logical and physical design. Distinguish between logical and physical design. Question number 5. Define DBMS. Define DBMS. By the way, the abbreviation DBMS stands for Database Management System. So you have to define DBMS. Question number 6. List down some advantages. List down some advantages of database management system. List down some advantages of a database management system. Question number 7. Why are data schemas? Why are data schemas? Spelling of schema, S-C-H-E-M-A. Why are data schemas an important element? Why are data schemas an important element in the concept of databases? In the concept of databases. Full stop. So in other words, you are trying to identify what is the importance of data schema in databases. Next question, question number 8. Explain data dictionary. Question number 8, explain data dictionary. Question number 9. List and explain some characteristics of web-based design. List and explain some characteristics of web-based design. Question number 10. Differentiate between. Question number 10. Differentiate between web browser, comma, web server, comma, web page, and website. Full stop. So what you're supposed to do in question number 10, so you have 4 internet-based terminologies. You have a web browser, you have a web server, web page, and website. So differentiate between these 4 different types of technologies. Question number 11. Differentiate between an intranet and extranet. Differentiate between an intranet, I-N-T-R-A-N-E-T, and extranet. Full stop. Now, if you're finding it hard to actually recall the difference, now the word intranet basically is a combination of 2 words. Intra means something that is inside an organization, and net comes from the word network. So intranet, network within the organization. Extranet, extra, something that is outside the intra area, and network, net, extranet. So networks that are outside the organization. Okay, so intranet and extranet. So differentiate between the two. Now remember, when you're differentiating, there's a difference between differentiating and defining. So do not actually write down the definitions of the words, but write down what things are different, okay, between those two terminologies. Question number 12. Explain the client-server architecture. Question number 12, explain the client/server architecture. Next question. Define the following terms. Define the following terms. Colon. First term is primary key. First term is primary key. Second term is foreign key. And finally, you have a secondary key as well. So primary key, foreign key, and secondary key. Question number 13. Define referential integrity. Define referential, R-E-F-E-R-E-N-T-I-A-L, referential integrity, I-N-T-E-G-R-I-T-Y. So define referential integrity. Question number 14. List down ways to control data access. List down ways to control data access, ACCESS. In other words, how are you going to control the data so that you do not have any unauthorized use of data? So what are some technologies? There are many types. So you can probably go and list on few. For example, you can say you can have a user ID, you can have a password, permissions, encryption, backup, you can have recovery procedures, audit log files, audit fields, and so forth. So those are the questions for your lecture 10. Any questions, any queries from anyone? Any questions, any queries? No, if not, okay. Five minutes of break, get everything sorted. Recheck your questions to see if you have written down the questions correctly. If you have any queries, straight away, feel free to ask. Okay, and after 5 minutes, we'll continue with lecture 11, revision questions. Okay, so let's continue where we left off. So in the last set of lecture slides for lecture 10, we had gone over and written down 14 questions in total. Now for lecture 11, you have a few more questions. So let's begin writing down the revision questions for lecture 11. Question number 1. Differentiate between a client and a server. Differentiate between a client and a server. Differentiate between a client and a server. By the way, FYI, instead of the word client, sometimes terminals could also be used. They would mean the same thing, okay? Any computer, that is connected up to a network. It may be called a client or a terminal. So a computer that basically provides services to the network is called as a server. Question number 2. Discuss the potential impact of cloud computing and Web 2.0 tools. Discuss the potential impacts of cloud computing and Web 2.0 tools. Question number 3. Explain the difference between online and batch processing. Explain the difference between online and batch processing. Full stop. Give examples. Full stop. Give examples. Now, can somebody give me an example of online processing? Let me see if you still remember from the lecture notes and the lecture notes discussion. An example of online processing?
ATM.
Okay, thank you. Yes, an ATM, an example of an online processing. What about batch processing? Batch processing, anyone? Okay, think about it, think about it. All right, think about it and try to come up with the answer. Now, next question.
So,
Yes.
bills.
Yes. Yep. For example, can you give me an
Bills.
example?
EFL bills.
Yes. When you pay it up, okay, it gets updated a bit later, not instantly, right? Now, same thing with the, for example, if you're paying any other kind of utility bills, once it's paid up, it takes a bit of time to be uploaded and updated on the system. So likewise here with batch processing. Thank you, Monish. Question number 4. Define network topology. Define network topology. Comma. Define network topology, comma. Including bus, comma, ring, bus, bus, comma, ring, ring, comma, star, star, and hierarchical models. So hierarchical comes from the word hierarchy, HIERARCHICAL, hierarchical models. So question number 4, define network topology, including bus, ring, star, and hierarchical models. Question number 5. Define wireless networking. Question number 5. Define wireless networking. Question number 6. Differentiate between wired and wireless networking. Question number 6. Differentiate between wired and wireless networking. Full stop. Next question, question number 7. List down advantages and disadvantages of. List down advantages and disadvantages of wired networking. Full stop. List down advantages and disadvantages of wired networking. Question number 8. List down the advantages and disadvantages of wireless networking. List down the advantages and disadvantages of wireless networking. Question number 9. Explain the term system architecture. Explain the term system architecture. Question number 10. Define scalability. Define scalability. Full stop. Is it different from the word extensibility? Define scalability. Full stop. Is it different from the word extensibility? Is it different from the word extensibility? So spelling of the word extensibility, E-X-T-E-N-S-I-B-I-L-I-T-Y, extensibility. Question number 11. What are some of the pros? What are some of the pros, P-R-O-S? What are some of the pros and cons, C-O-N-S, and cons of scalability? Pros and cons of scalability. Question number 12. Is it 12 or 13? 12.
12, sir.
Okay, question number 12. Define legacy systems. Define legacy systems. Question number 13. Discuss middleware. Discuss middleware. So middle, M-I-D-D-L-E, ware, W-A-R-E. So even the word itself should give you the definition. Middleware, software that is in the middle of two devices or two technologies. Middleware. Question number 14. List down some advantages of developing e-commerce solutions. Developing e-commerce solutions in-house. List down some advantages of developing e-commerce solutions in-house. Question number 15. List down some advantages and disadvantages. List down some advantages and disadvantages of developing software solutions, outside the organization, of developing software solutions outside the organization. Last question, question number 16. Define networking. Define networking. Define networking. So these are the 16 questions that you had for lecture 11. Now take 5, check that you have included all the questions and they have been included correctly. At the same time, should you have any questions or queries, please feel free to ask me questions or feel free to hold back. All right, take 5, everyone. Okay, everyone, let's continue. So we have finished up with all our lecture notes based revision questions. So what I'm doing is under week 15 section of the modal shell, I'll be putting up 4 questions on use case diagrams. So just give me few minutes, probably a minute or so to put up the questions. Those questions will be available on Moodle this week, next week. Okay, it will be available. So what I would like you to do is, as soon as I would post up these questions, I'd like you to go and give it a attempt and see if you're able to do it well. And at this, and should you have any questions or queries, you could ask me. Okay, so give me 2 minutes. I am posting up the questions. Okay, I've already posted up question 1 on use case and question number 2 on use case as well. Now, what things are you supposed to do when you actually start drawing up use cases? Remember, I had given you an order of things to identify first. So first things that you do is you have to identify all possible actors. So once you're done with the selection of the actors, the next thing you have to do is identify all possible use cases. Then the next thing is you have to allow interaction between those identified actors and use cases. Remember this, if a particular use case or a particular actor is not able to interact with any other actors or use cases within the entire diagram, that means you have to go around removing them. For instance, let's say you have a primary actor and the primary actor is not interacting with any of the use cases. Therefore, in that case, that actor needs to be removed off. Okay, so do ensure that. And finally, you also have to come to a conclusion whether do you have any included or extended relationships in the use case diagram. If there are, then you will need to plot them accordingly. All right, so 2 questions are already under week 15 section of the modal shell. I am feeding in 1 more question. So let's give you 3 questions so that you are able to get well versed with use case diagrams. And I'm also excited to see the use case diagrams that you have come up in your project. So if you would have a look at the modal shell now, under week 15 section of the modal shell, so revision questions, use case 1, question 2, and question 3. Now these are very similar to what you have done in week 7 and week 8 of our CIN603 lecture classes, okay, lecture and lab classes. So please try your very best to get them done on your own first, and then see if you can cross-check with the answers that I had given in those previous classes, and see whether you are able to do it correctly or not. Just in case, if you face any issues, if you still face any difficulties in terms of getting the use case diagrams drawn up, you're most welcome to drop me an email or drop me a message on Moodle. Okay, is that fine, everyone? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, so this is all that I have for today's class. So in today's class, just to sum things up, first of all, the very first reminder was given on your short test, which has already opened up at 11 a.m. today, and it will close off on the 5th of November at 11 a.m. So 5 days for you to actually go over the short test, all multiple choice questions. So 20 questions, you're given 40 minutes, 2 minutes per question, carries 10% towards your coursework. Now, after that, we had gone over our online exam outline. So in it, you have 4 sections, sections A, B, C, and D. Section A is worth 30 marks with 30 multiple choice questions. Section B is worth 10 marks with 10 marks of true or false questions. Section C is 30 marks with 30 marks of short answer and long answer questions. And section D is 30 marks of requirements modeling question. Now, section A, B, and C, these will be timed up. You will be given specific time to actually go and attempt the quiz within the week. So anytime in the week, you could go and attempt, but it will be timed. For instance, if section A is given an hour, so anytime from, I'd given you the dates earlier, anytime from the 15th till the 19th, let's say if you think, let's say you decide to attempt the exam on the 17th. So 17th, 8 a.m. if you begin, so 9 p.m. section A will close off. Okay, so anytime within the week, but 1 hour is given. Section A, B, and C would be timed. Section D is whereby you could be able to see the question somewhere at the beginning of the week, okay, and then you will attempt the question, and you will do a normal submission just like you do for all your assessments, okay, like you did for a major project. You saw the question beforehand, you took time, and then you attempted the question, and once you were satisfied, you uploaded it up on the Dropbox. So very similar here for section D. By the way, section D on requirements modeling, this is where you'll have diagrams, graphs, / calculations. So Gantt chart, PERT chart with work breakdown structure, CPA, use case diagrams, TOC, total cost, okay, oh, sorry, TCO, total cost of ownership, return on investment, PBA, NPV calculations. Further on, we went around looking at the revision questions. So 2 sets of lecture notes were left from the previous week. So in the first set of lecture notes, we had a total of 14 questions. And in the second set of lecture notes, we had a total of 16 questions. Now, the revision questions that I had given you last week and today, please combine them up with the revision questions that I had given you for your mid-semester exam. Okay, so once you combine it up, it will cover up for the entire of CIN603 semester 2 2021. Moreover, right at the very end, I posted in 3 questions on use case diagrams. So please take time out and try to attempt it up. Okay, now what you can do is you can always group up and then try to attempt all these questions in groups, share the questions equally, and then combine it up within a certain due time, and then it will make you work easier for revision. Okay, everyone? Any further questions before we knock off the class for today? By the way, there's no tutorial class. Tutorial class falls on Thursdays from 10 to 12. Thursday is a public holiday, so therefore no tutorial class this week. No questions? If no questions, then I wish you all the very best for your short test and also for your revision for the final examination online assessment. Please take time out well. Ensure that you stay healthy and fit at the same time. Moreover, just remember this, you've got about week 15, week 16, week 17, 3 weeks of struggle. So work hard, people, for the next 3 weeks. After that, you can relax. Okay, so try to give yourself, you know, as much as time as possible for your studies for the next 3 weeks. Time yourself up, make a timetable, okay? In that way, it will be easy for you to manage your time. And at the same time, you will be able to divide adequate time for all the courses that you're doing. I do understand some of you are doing 4 courses. Most of you, in fact, are doing 4 courses. So try your best to time yourself well. All right, everyone? So thank you. Thank you very much for the semester. Thank you for taking out your valuable time and keeping up with CIN603. All the very best for your final assessment, everyone. Okay, take care. Goodbye.